live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph.
Hello and good afternoon. It is Wednesday. It's Wednesday Live. And here we are again, Connections 50 Plus. Welcome to all you 5.8G generation, you 50 to 80 cohort. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph. They are the co-creator of Connections 50 Plus.
And we are welcoming you. We are welcoming our Facebook crew because we're streaming live there. We're also welcoming our YouTubers. Last week we premiered on YouTube Live and you are back again. Thanks for your comments. And we have another place that we're streaming, Jennifer, that goes to a special place too.
Of course, we're streaming on Gaia, the Caribbean. And I welcome all our Caribbean brothers and sisters of the 5.8G cohort. Welcome, you know. And yes, Terry-Ann, so we have a nice special show on discussion for them this evening.
Absolutely. Listen, we have been on a roll and we have 3 guests who are, we're so excited. So we are bringing them in one at a time and then we'll tell you all what we're talking about today. But we have something literally for everyone today. So our first guest, and he's coming in just now. And we want to welcome Randy Sankar.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, nice to be here. I hope everybody is fine and safe this evening. Thank you for having me here.
Excellent.
Welcome, Randy.
And our next guest that we're introducing is Kester Hamlet, and you'll soon see Kester. So we should have drum roll and stuff now, eh, Jen? Hi, Kester.
Hi, Kester. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
Great.
Yeah.
And our final guest is the lady amongst them. And she'll be coming in quite soon. Great. And we have Allison Gibbons. Hi, Allison. How are you?
Hi, Terry-Ann. Hi, everyone. Happy to join you today.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice. So, Jen, what have we learned about this amazing 5.8G generation that has us bringing together these 3 people to chat with us? What's the topic of today's conversation?
The topic is 5.8G, stage of stages. And that's why we said stage of stages. It's because looking at you, we have 3 beautiful guests at different stages in their lives. We're going to chat about their transition from one stage to the next and all about where they are now on stage, on our 5.8G stage.
Yes.
So, Terry-Ann, well, we're going to start with Kester.
Yeah. So, with Randy.
With Randy, sorry, Randy. Yeah.
The way we look at this stage, because we've looked at the 5.8G cohort, we've been dealing with them in so many different ways. And we have recognized, as we would recognize throughout life, you know, your children, when they're small, when they're middle, and when they're big, 3 different things. So in the same way, as we prepare for this fantastic 5.8G this years ahead of us, we realize there's this big stage we are creating and setting the stage for, but there's a first stage, which is the 50 to 60. And Mr. Sankar there, Randy Sankar, will be representing that cohort very, very, very honorably. Then we have the middle stage, which is the 60 to 70, well and properly represented by Kester Hamlet. And then we have the fullbacks, the last line of defense that shows that, excuse me, look at this lady. Final stage, it's 70 to 80, believe it. And we are going to have a conversation today that really looks at, let's about that journey. And I'm going to set it off now by having a chat with Randy. Randy, you are 53 going to be
53.
54. Okay.
Yes. December.
Ask your question. How do you feel about being 53 going on 54? 6 years again before that thing called retirement. We don't recognize that word. But how do you feel?
Terry, I feel so honored, to reach this age, 53. In our stage now, we don't see a lot, especially men reaching this age, I'm looking forward to reaching the 60s, even the 70s and 80s, the retirement. I would like to put things, I set things in place, right? So when I reach that 60, so I can enjoy myself more without studying the children or the grandchildren, right? I'm still putting things in place. I think I will still be working after I reach 60 because I love what I do. As you know, I do wines and I love my food. So I figure in my mind I will either have a business at the side with wines and food PN. So I'm really looking forward to that retirement. It won't be a retirement, it will be an enjoyable retirement.
Okay, so Randy, you said that you are looking forward to 60 and that transition and you are putting things in place.
Yes.
So a lot of people in your cohort we have found really resist thinking about it. They look at it with dread. You seem to be willing to embrace it. Tell us about that preparation. What are some of the things you're doing?
Okay. Firstly, in that preparation, you must have some kind of financial backing or something. Like I say, you must have an ABC plan, right? So I put together my ABC plan. I'm not dependent on the pension. The government pension, right? I put something in place. At least I can get some extra money because I love to travel. So and what I have in mind too, the little food and the wine business that will bring in extra. Right? So I always like to invest in something. Always invest in something that will bring in nothing. That you can survive on. Right? So you do not depend on the social system or the government. So that's why I'm looking forward to that.
Tell me more about that food and wine. Because you are making yourself a kind of Facebook personality with some of those pictures. All right, so tell me more about that.
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. I won't take up much of the time. But since I was small, I always loved to cook. I always loved to cook. When people say you take after your father, my father used to cook a lot, right? I was really brought up with my grandmother and my great grandmother. I remember when I was small, I loved pilau. I could eat pilau whole week. Right? I remember my great grandmother, which she said, "Oh, you like pilau?" I was 12 years, and she showed me how to make pilau. And from there, I transitioned. I always cook. My daughter had to cook. I had to cook for her every day, right? Every day I cook for her, right? It's just because I wanted to go culinary school, but certain circumstances,
yeah,
my parents didn't have the money to send me or whatever, right? I try my best to think up when I sleep in the night or I have a notebook on my side. Things that pop in my mind. What recipe I could do? What I can match with this wine? And I say that pop in the mind. And I always say, love. You must have passion to what you do. If you don't have no passion, I don't think you'll ever get through in life. When your dreams or your goals when materialize. And this wine and food thing is as I want to do. I want to, if I could get which where I live in, it's a nice little place, but it's all about location. If you get a nice little location to do this wine and food playing, which to do something different than not the usual things that people have, something different that they work and to work with the local farmers. And we have such a beautiful fruits and vegetables here we work with. So that is what I'm looking forward to. And hopefully you and the other guys will come and be there with me to share the benefit.
Definitely, we're here to support.
Definitely.
Yes.
And Randy, and we have about 3 minutes left, but tell me a
Yes.
little bit about your passion for wines. How did you get into it? And also, there's an entity called the Front Porch that I want you to say how you connected the wine and the food in the Front Porch.
Okay, my passion for wines, I started, as I said, when I left school, my first job was with a wine company, which was Stokes and Mino. I was 17 years. So I always been in the wine business, growing up in the wine business years and years. I mean, the wine business give me the advantage to travel to Italy, Chile, America. I mean, I did a lot of wine courses, as you know, with Joe Wine. Right? So it's really something in me. I mean, I always love wines, and I mean, when I meet somebody like you to talk about wines too, it's enjoyable. Right? At least you have somebody. The other question with the Front Porch, the idea came up, but you was here before, but you came by me before, with the porch in front. I say, you know, and I talked to my daughter, I said, we don't have a name for it already, you know. We have a porch in front. Why do we name it the Front Porch? Right? So that was the name came up too. And she jumped on it, and that was 3-4 years. She said, no, we're gonna register it, and we went to register it. We have all documents, everything already. So nobody can take the name. So that's how the Front Porch came up. And everybody's just say the Front Porch because it have a porch in front. So that's how the Front Porch came up.
Well, I think I really want to congratulate you, Randy, because I think you really epitomize what the spirit of this 5.8G generation is. There is so much energy and passion for what you do. And you're turning your skills and your passion that you've worked with on the second act stage, you're taking those skills and you're certainly paving the way for a very smooth transition. Now, of course, there'll be bumps in the road and so on.
Yes, we will have hiccup, definitely.
We really do appreciate, and that's why we thought you were the perfect ambassador for the first, the forwards in this the first group that come on.
I feel honor.
The first team that's coming on. So we really, really love that, and we'll be back around again to talk generally. So that was Randy.
Randy, thanks again. Let's go to Kester. And you can unmute Kester, and Kester can unmute. Right. So we heard from Randy, who represented the 50 to the 60s. So let's go to Kester. And Kester, yes. So you're representing that group, the 60 to 70, right? From the 5.8G group. And I'm aware you have retired officially. We don't like to use the word retire, but you're in transition. So tell us a bit about you and how you felt moving from one stage to the next, from the corporate, where you would normally to moving on to this new stage.
Well, for me, it's a happy time because I always feel a pride in my freedom to do without any set of rules to govern me. And that was a good thing. When I retired, there was no set of traffic jam to face because of that routine, 8 to 4, and you must reach a certain time and so on. I mean, I'm a salesman as well, just as Randy. And I developed my own schedules. And I had a lot of flexibility in what I did. All right? But to go back to some of this stuff, even prior to retirement, I was in the financial services industry, most of the insurance industry. And I've learned, you know, we go through life stages. You know, you have your learning years up to your early 20s, maybe when you go to university and so on. You have your earning years. So that's up to retirement, from when you started working to retirement. And then you have your yearning years. That's the stages we are in now. We're looking back and saying what we should have done and what we would be doing someday and all that. So I'm at that stage, and I'm happy because there's no sort of pressure on me. I have planned before, not to any great extent, but to, like I was enrolled when Randy spoke about finance, I was enrolled in my company's pension plan, and that was a plus for me. And you know, you contribute to NIS and all that. So in terms of income, those are the basic things. But you know, you always want more. You want to leave a legacy and a heritage for you and your children. So that you'll still want to continue earning and finding ways and methods of earning more money, more income, right? And as we learn in insurance, that is the most important economic factor in anybody's life, the income. So you want to continue generating income because you don't know what will be happening, maybe health challenges and so on and so on. So you'll want to do a lot of things before you die. Someone mentioned, I think it was Randy mentioned travel, and that is one of my priority lists, my bucket list, more traveling. So those are some of the things, you know, I look at.
Okay, so what skills you took from that stage, the second stage, onto your present third stage? To help you with what you are doing right now, to earn that extra income?
Well, as I said, I was in the financial services industry. So I'm still active in credit union business, which I was a board member with Terry. She might have shared with you. So some of those things, and going around to different places because I worked in credit unions exclusively. And one thing I should mention is that when we have lectures and presentations in those credit unions, we had a pension plan that we encourage people to come in, to enroll in. Those annuities and so on. And we find when we have those things, the people who we attracted most or who came mostly was not the young people, right? Because they are not thinking about retirement, you know. Although we try to emphasize start from day one, the day you start work, start preparing for retirement. But we were never able to attract that type of audience until, but when we have those sessions, we see mostly people who are retired or who are ready to retire to start planning retirement. And that was a bugbear for me. And even though it sounds like I'm going back a little bit, because
no, we need it, that's fine. That's what it is, going back to move forward.
When I started in the insurance industry, one of my colleagues, I started working CUNA in 1985. One of her son passed common entrance in those days. So she asked me to drop her in town because I was heading out of town. So to drop her on Charlotte Street because she's going to buy some uniform for her kid who just passed the common entrance. So we went down to Charlotte Street, hot sun. I had an old beat-up Lancer. The seat was like a red t-shirt covering the seat because it was bust up. The car used to smoke and drink excessively. If you know, some of you might know what I'm talking about.
Exactly. We all within that age group.
Yes. You know those wind down, right? Not the press button to wind down. So she came in, and women don't want their hair to blow up, so she'll wind up the glass. And it's making hot early in the morning before 9. So we went to Charlotte Street and we reached. So she came out, and I wind down the glass. And I just looked on my left. And I saw across the road, when I looked at the left, I saw this lady bend down, this old lady with a discolored kind of dress, long dress. She's bending down, and there's some heaps of gazeted paper on the ground. And you know what she was taking out from a box and generously resting on those gazeted paper? Some bust up, rotten looking, wormy looking governments. So I looked in and wanted to be curious, what is she doing with that? But you know, I looked at her and I was studying why she should be doing that. She could be in her 70s, 80s, you know. Why does she have to be doing something like that? And a lot of thoughts went through my mind, and you know, I studied my poor grandmother. She was alive at the time, my mother, even myself as an elderly gentleman, not an old man. You know, and I looked at that and I was very, very curious. And from that day on, I decided I must make a better impact in what I did in the insurance. That, you know, telling people about retirement, telling them what could happen in case they die before retirement, and all these different things. So
They put plans in place, yeah.
yes, for myself, my family,
Great.
right? And we tell people that day in, day out. So those are some of the things that impacted very much on them.
Great, Kester. And so right now, you're on to your third act. You're very active.
Yes.
And I am aware that you're earning income in all different ways.
Well,
by working hard.
I have a lot of little things I do,
Yeah.
and that helps.
That's great. And it's really important. I'm glad that you emphasize the importance of planning, putting plans in place and taking advantage of the companies, wherever you're working, the pension plan. And for those who companies don't provide that pension plan or the opportunity for you to match what they are putting in, that they can also implement their own pension plans in preparation for the later stage. So thank you, Kester, and I will go across to Allison Terrian.
Yes, okay. Great. And you know, it's really clear in terms of the perspective. Kester is there in the midst of it, starting to reap the benefits of his plans, really getting onto doing different things, exploring and so on. And you know, Allison, you are, how old are you now?
73.
73. And the thing is, the perception that people have, there's such a fear of advancing. People are afraid to say, I am 55, I am 60, and Lord have mercy, 65 or 70. And I look at you and I say, okay, if this is the stopper, I want to be on this team. I want to be on this team. Okay. So, Allison, what do you feel like at 73 on this third act stage of stages? So you are at the top looking at all of us coming up.
I mean, it sounds like an old adage that age is just a number, but really it is. And 73 means absolutely nothing to me except I was born in 1947. That's and if you add the years, you get 73. But other than that, I don't think about it. Before I knew I was going, and I wouldn't even say retire, even though I had to sign up papers for retirement when I wanted to leave my university position, and I wanted the money, so I had to officially fill out a
you have to take the
retirement forms. But I had in mind I wanted to do something else, which is my overlap kind of thinking. Long before, I never wanted to confine myself to any one thing. So I wanted to do something else because I have 3 lanes in which I live my life. Only one of them is economic, and it is important. So I know that I have to have money, but my emotional satisfaction is also very important. And also human development contributions. I like to know what I'm doing is making a difference somewhere. So there I am teaching, and I'm going, there's no way. I looked at some colleagues who, if you're in university and you're tenured in the US, you can teach until whatever age you want. So people were there 40 years, 45 years. And I'm
sounds like happiness. You could go until you're ready to go.
But I could teach until 100 if I want, but I'm like, there's no way I want to be doing that. I have also many other things in life I want to experience and do, and other ways of helping the human race. So I started, in one of my classes, I was actually teaching aging in the family. And I became fascinated by this thought. I didn't even think about it. I was already over 60. And I'm thinking, what else can I be doing? And I figured, okay, I'm going to do a postdoc certificate in gerontology, which is the study of aging. And so I was doing that in my last 2 years before. I already knew the date on which I was going to leave the job officially. And so during those 2 years, I was studying and, making straight A's and feeling good and learning a whole lot of stuff about human aging. And I'm learning all of this stuff. And I wasn't thinking of myself in that age group at all, even though I was officially in the age group. I was learning stuff about old people, you know, what people do. And they're talking about people over 60. And every time I look at an ad on the TV for it, even during the coronavirus, when they said,
yes, we learned that.
you're vulnerable if you're over 65, and I'm thinking, means nothing to me. You know, it really didn't. And, you know, I had a doctor's appointment, a new doctor in January. And she's seeing I think the medical organization to which I belong, which is called an HMO, probably put this here because of my age. You know, they're just dealing with the paperwork. So I walk into her office and I sit down and she looks at me and she looks at her paper and she looks at me and she looks at her paper and she goes, why did they send you to see me? And I said, I don't know. They told me you are the person I'm supposed to see. And then she looks and she goes, you were born in 1947. I said, yep, that's me. And she goes, you kidding me, right? I said, it's not a joke. Why should I be kidding you about something like that? And she says, all the people over 70 who come into my office are walking with a cane and they're doubling over and they have 50 million medications they're taking and all of that. You know, you cannot be 73. I said, you know, it's a number. That's what it is. What do you want me to say? You know, but I'm saying that to say that it's a philosophy of life.
Yeah.
I remember I was 9 when my youngest sister died. And then I was 11 when my best friend died. We were both just took, at the time was government exhibition. That was before common entrance. See how old I am? And we were preparing to go to secondary school. We were the only 2 people who passed, you know, from our school because in those days it was limited, you know, it was like 300 spaces, you know. I was a big deal. And before school opened, she died.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her parents, everybody in the, you know, in her yard gathered, and everybody's crying. And the 2 of us used to go to the library all the time. You know, we were living in Carnage, and the library mobile bus used to come with the books, and the 2 of us used to be there first. And then one of the old people who probably was younger, you know, probably was 60 if they were that old, but
They were
old to me. I was 11, and she said to me, you were Joyce's friend, yeah, and you were always reading books. That's what killed her, you know, she had all this headache and died from too much reading. I always remember that, but something at a young age clicked in my mind. Listen, people die. I will die one day. I have no idea what age that would be, but in the meanwhile, life is to be lived.
You have to
life
live.
is to be enjoyed, not necessarily in a irresponsible way, but everything should be emotionally fulfilling, enjoyable, and well, at that time I didn't know how important making money was, but it became important. But also contributing to other people's lives, and I have lived my life that way since then. And I'm not saying that all women should, or because I'm very independent minded, which is probably why marriage and I did not agree. I attempted it twice, and it was never that the person walked out. It was always me going, you know what, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember the man in my life saying to me, you would not have been so bold to walk out of a marriage if you didn't have a job and if you didn't have money. And I go, that's right. That wasn't the reason I left, but I wanted everything in my life to be fulfilling, and that if it wasn't contributing to my life, then I don't want it. And that included relationships. And I love to see people who have great relationships that work for them, that's fulfilling for them. But I figure it's taking away years from my life to stay in something that's not working. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it does. It eats away at you emotionally, and emotional health is very, very important. So my emotional health, I mentioned, you know, economic health, and the 2 men mentioned that, yeah. But also, you know, and contributing to human life. So my overlap thinking is transitional. And by the way, you know, relational transitions are important, which is where marriage and divorce and those things are transitional. Mm-hmm. Death is one of those autonomous transitions. We don't have any control over what's going to happen. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to control the things that I can control until God decides otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So my overlap thinking is I already knew myself from small that living in Trinidad, for example, and I have a lot of friends who have been retired since they were 55 because they were women. Because the government said, you're working in this job, women get to retire at 55 and men get to retire at 60.
Mm.
And I had friends who retired at 55 and thought that was their life's calling. You retire, collect your money, and you see about your grandchildren. And I go, well, that's not me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not see any reason to hang around waiting for my pension at 55.
Yeah.
I was always planning what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
As long as it falls within my 3 lanes of, emotional, and economic and contributing to human development. And having fear, of course, we grew up in religion, but being Catholic, you didn't always know the Bible. But the whole idea, I used to read everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, learning not to have fear, people always say, why could you just pack up and go to another country and live or work? And someone mentioned travel. I think it was Randy. He loves to travel. And,
Yeah.
I saw no reason. Well, I never knew whether I'd have enough money to do that kind of travel, but at the same time, I like to combine things. And I'm going, somewhere when I was in my 30s, I figure, okay, there are jobs where you can travel and you can see the world and work.
And Randy,
I signed up with the UN and I saw the world and got paid for it.
Yes.
So that was my kind of thinking. So I did not have to wait. I didn't know if I was going to live until whatever, because having lost people close to me so young, I couldn't sit down and go, okay, when I'm retired at 65, I'm going to take a trip to China.
Yes.
No. So I researched it. I could get a job and I did. I went to China. I went all over Europe. I went all over Africa. I went all over Latin America and got paid for doing that. And so I was fulfilling all aspects of my life lanes in that way. And the other thing I found myself doing as a woman is admiring and looking at the life of women who never stop. So for one period of my life, Tina Turner was it. It was like, oh my God, I don't know if you know who Tina Turner is, but it was like, she was 60 and Cher and these women. And, and I look at people who are still working, like Angela Lansbury, who's 92 or something like that.
Still on the screen.
Yeah, and she's making a movie right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that ahead of me. So I'm always thinking that way, okay, what if I'm alive at 92, what am I going to be doing?
Yeah.
So it's not a bucket list. A bucket list is people who are going, in my mind, that is, I'm not criticizing the idea of a bucket list. I know it's important. But I'm thinking a bucket list sounds like me saying, okay, I might die at whatever age, and before then I want to do this. I'm like, no. My thing is, okay, if I live to be 90, what am I going to be doing? Let me make a plan for that.
That is really, really interesting because, here we have, it's life is so dynamic and fun.
Yes.
And, I would ask you as we get back into our round robin general discussion, because we have our beautiful stage and our stage is tiered. It's the stages of the stage, and it's not hierarchical. It's just another part of the stage that you go to. As for each of you, and I'll say this to each of you, because Randy, you are there looking forward at what's to come on the stage.
Yes.
You are on the stage and you are nowhere near to coming off the stage, but you are looking at more people coming on the stage and some leaving the stage. And Kester, you're smack in the middle. you could be looking at all sides. What is your opinion for all of you? What do you see? If you were to look and say, all right, I see this stage of stages before me, what excites you about it and what would you like to change to make it better? So I can start with Randy. So you're looking, you're going on to 80. You're seeing everything on the stage, all the different perspectives. all right, in terms of you as an individual coming into this new generation? What excites you? And what kind of change do you plan to make as an individual on your stage of stages as you go across the different stages?
Well, you hear me right?
Yes.
Sure.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Randy.
As I watch it as stage as Kester and Allison, right? And it, you hear different stages, right? You hear different experience, right? And in my mind, if I didn't hear that, I wonder when I want to reach in those stages. Now those stages now sound very, very exciting now.
You see?
Right? To reach in those stages, right? It sounds very exciting because if you ask normal, 50, 60 years, what you think about that? People don't really think going forward, right? So, here now, Kester and Allison, it really excites me. Looking forward to reach those stages and try to, elevate myself more to those stages.
Right.
The front porch might be the whole house.
Yes.
Kester, what about you?
Well, I am excited as well. As was said, we don't know how long we will live, how long we are allowed, but as long as I'm here and I'm able, I will do what excites me. When I listen talk about emotional contentment, and she looks very contented, she exudes that kind of calm, and she knows what she's about and all that. So, and she looks good.
Great.
Yeah, she looks great. Because when I start here, you're up and down, you're going here and you're going there, and people start calling you uncle. You realize, hey, that never used to happen before, but just suddenly people, uncle, let me help you with that. Uncle so and so. Say, hey, something happened here. And I never looked at it that way, because people always telling me, you at your age, you look like, no, I can't believe you are that age. Just as Allison indicated when she was born in 1947 and she went to the doctor, So yes, I'm looking forward to this and to have the sort of pleasurable emotions as long as I live going forward. It's time to have fun, time to really, really have the fun. I put in the work over the years, and now it's time to have that happiness.
Absolutely. And Allison, from this vantage point, you have to unmute.
So, I like fluidity. I know in the business world, they talk about strategic planning, and a few people started introducing the term scenario planning. I live my life with scenario planning. It's always if, what, and what then. I have my radar on all the time in terms of what all the possibilities might be. That the economy could collapse. I know that. I could get sick, and I try to. I'm a health fanatic, so I try to manage that as best as possible. But it's always, if this happens, this is what I'll do. If that happens, that's what I will do. If that happens, and I try to broaden my consciousness as to those possibilities, and not to be afraid of one or the other. If I have no money, this is what I will do. If the market has no whatever, I'll make it. We can't find face masks, I'll make some. It's one of those fluid things, and thank God for skills and creativity, that as a child I always showed interest in everything. When students ask me about finding themselves, well, you don't have to do that. Stop letting people feel it could be this and nothing else. That's only one path in life, but who says they can't be doing parallel paths? The first guy, some 15 years ago, who was a doctor and decided he wanted to become a lawyer, people thought he was crazy. You went to medical school and you want to go to law school? Guess what? The entire world wanted his services because there is so much legal stuff that goes on in the medical world. You know what happens now? 3 of the biggest universities in the US offer dual degrees in law and medicine. Just because one guy said, who says I can't do law because I'm a doctor? Who who says I think people are always surprised when they find out I can sew, I can design, you know, I can cook, I could put out a restaurant quality meal. I have, you know, so you have to understand how all these skills can work for you, and I don't dismiss any of them. Because in a scenario where I go, if what and what then, I go, okay, I'll do that if that happens. And if I live to be 80, this is what will happen. And if I happen to lose my legs in an accident, God forbid, this is what I will do next. You know, people sometimes say, Allison, you think of the weirdest things. And I say, it's not morbidity, being morbid to think that you'll die one day or you could be disabled one day, but you gotta put some things in place and not let it happen. Let somebody else have to decide that for you. You know, so I think of scenarios. So thinking of life as a stage, I try not to be that static about it, although I feel okay. Yeah, I'm fluid, and who knows what next. Somebody asked me the other day if I wanted to be an older model. You know, they have in the fashion industry. I said, that's something I might think about. But they're like, what? You should do this. And I go, I'll put it on my list of possibilities. You know, and when the two things meet up in terms of my life and that, then I'll do it. I have not dismissed it.
You know, Jennifer, how often have we heard echoes of this? You know, the fear. People.
Oh yes.
Think with so much fear, but what's there to be afraid of? There's so much freedom. Jennifer,
I was so happy to hear Randy said that you're so excited to move on to these stages, different stages, because Randy, this is what we are all about at Connections 50 Plus. We started this to help others, the 5.8G, to really appreciate and embrace going on to the third stage, because we speak with people and they have that fear and they limit themselves. Allison said it, I mean, really great. After you listen to her, it's okay. Just remove age, remove the name retirement, which we said we have done. Remove age. It's not about that.
After 80.
We limit ourselves, and then we have to speak positives when we speaking about ourselves and the elders, as we said last week, because the younger people see us then, because of how we are projecting ourselves, they then see us as old and can't do this, and Kester mentioned that, and uncle, where you going? And you want to travel at this age? And as Allison said it, during this COVID period, I asked Terry and I realized I'm an elder. Okay. My daughter called me and said, Mommy, you don't go anywhere because you know the old people can't go out. And I am like, who you calling? Oh, she said, well, you're past 60. You're within that group. And I said, okay, let me embrace it. This is who I am. This is the age I'm at. And this is what we want others and you listeners out there, our followers, our 50 plus followers, to understand and to get excited as Randy, to come on the third stage and enjoy life like Kester and go up. Don't put an age limit on. So like Allison, and you see, let me tell you, it reflects how you act, how you look, how you speak, the energy you draw to people. Because when you hear Allison, you say there are no limits, no limit to your age. You can do anything and be happy. And Kester mentioned that about Allison. You look it, you start looking at it because you feel good. When you're thinking about age and you're too old and you're too old, always say too old.
What is
no
that?
way. And I want to mention one other thing that Allison said, and we spoke about it in one of our chats, about having role models in front of us. Do not look at those who just consider themselves old and in a corner and not doing anything and utilizing your skills, not taking no self-care. Look at those who really, the older ones at that stage, enjoying themselves. As you say, still acting, still modeling, still lecturing, still doing whatever, you know, and exploring different things. So I love the panel. I love the Randy, excited into the Kester, into you could go until whatever age. Yeah. And this is just such a powerful message here, you know, from our guests. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So I would like to hear from you all because we are rounding off our discussion now. We have been talking for almost 45 minutes. I'll let you all know.
You see?
Can I speak?
You know?
Sure.
All right.
Charleston.
Self-care is important, of course, as I said, I'm a health fanatic, so I'm always reading and researching how to keep myself healthy. Self-knowledge is also important. You have to keep doing an inventory of your skills, your attitudes, you know, what are you able to do, what you would like to do, and some things you just, when you're transitioning, I use the word transition in terms of leaving some things behind. Not necessarily that you have stopped, but there are some things you say, okay, that I'm not bothering to do that anymore because I have these other 5 exciting things to do. Something got to be left behind, but that should be based on your self-knowledge. Am I someone who likes gardening or does not? Am I a quiet at home person? Do I like to talk to people? How good I am at talking to a group? Am I creative? Well, all of us are creative. We just have to find out where our creativity lies. And what do I want to do with that creative energy? Not necessarily you want to be an artist, you know, a painter or, you know, a musician, but by all means, if you always wanted to be a musician, age has absolutely nothing to do with that. You know, that's what you do now. You say, okay, now I have the time. When I was going to leave my university position and my boss called me and he goes, why are you leaving? We need you here. I say, look, I have a book to write and you're taking up all my time in here with other things. He said, well, you know, I said, no, I've done with all the academic writing. I have a novel to write and I don't have the time while I'm teaching to do it, so I'm out of here. You know, says, but I said, there's no but about it. A year after I left, they were still phoning me, begging me to come back. I said, no, I've moved on from that. You know, so moving on from things. So for some people, retirement after 30 years in a job is moving on, rather than thinking it's your time to stop living or your time to just sit home and collect a pension or whatever. Yep, the pension is good.
It's important.
Money for life. But that's not what your life revolves around, right? Life revolves around your emotional and social satisfaction, your relational satisfaction. And I learned a long time ago, long before I studied general college, the things that eat away at your emotions are life-sucking.
Yes. Yes.
So you have to deal with that. You have to deal with your health. You have to deal with your emotions and your life and what makes you, how to make yourself happy in it, rather than just a string of unhappy compromises that leaves you like a wet dish rag that
is so
can't
important.
do anything.
That is so important. Kester, as you think back on this afternoon and you're in the middle of the thing.
The nucleus. Yes. Well, I think I learned a lot this evening, especially from Allison, who is in the next phase. So I feel more encouraged, and based on what she said too about the learnings, because my grandmother always used to say, and that's the biggest lesson I've learned from her: always learn something. You never know where you'll fall. She used to encourage all her grandchildren. Some of them didn't used to take on, but I put that at the back of my head, and I learned a little skills. I could cook just as Randy, you know. I'm learning about
Facebook page before you say that.
about gardening, you know, and multiple things. But in between that, I need to have fun too. I have a family; they need, you know, that emotional support all the time. So we need to, you know, exude that happiness all the time, so that everybody will find. In my family, I think we are very stable, and you know, we're working on issues that we could clear up some of those things. But for me, you know, I'm looking forward, always looking forward to something new, something a little more challenging and rewarding at the same time. So those are my thoughts.
Good.
Thanks. So let's hear from Randy.
You are now coming on to this, joining the bunch. You have to learn to be an elder.
Okay. Just adding on, and especially with Allison, I mean, I love her energy, right? And just these two words, what if, right? You know, when we are young and we want to do this, either our parents say, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that, right? So when somebody tell me I can't do it, that make me more motivated to do it. Right? What if you never try it, you don't know how it will work out. So I always say, whether it's 20 years or 80 years, always take chances. You don't know what will make you happy. It's all about, I mean, although the financial background was good for you, is what make you happy. Right? I always believe, as long as you're happy, I mean, you see it on your face, you smile more. I mean, you always look younger. Let's pay this way. Right? So Allison touch on everything. So Allison, I like to say thank you for touching on that. Okay?
You're welcome.
And it should keep all of us looking young.
Allison, when you reach 90, you might get married. You don't know. Okay. Okay.
No, but I think this was great. And one thing about our 5.8G, we know to manage ourselves because we are smack on 52
1 hour.
which gives us the extra 2 minutes. And you know, Jennifer, we talk about this and the freedom. What I love about all of you, all three of you, is that you so naturally epitomize the freedom that this age allows us to take chances and do and what your passion is from since you're small without being fettered by all kinds of things. And whether you're in relationship, out of relationship, rich or in between, happiness comes from what you really are passionate about. And what is so clear is that at each stage, life changes, priorities changes, and we have permission to change. We could change our minds if it doesn't work out, and you could start over. Because Allison, when did you do the gerontology? How old were you when you decided?
I was, let's see, when I left the job officially, I was just turning 70. So I did that gerontology postdoc between 68 and 70.
Exactly. So, you know, I think this has been phenomenal. I mean, the stage of stages, where am I? I am on the border. I'm in the middle. I want to be on Kester's stage. Randy, I want to leave you on this stage and hurry up and go across. Next December, Kester, I come in by you.
Excited for you.
Could I mention one thing, Terry?
Sure, Kester.
Just as Allison said, I started music too. After I retired, I knew nothing about music. And I acquired a violin, which that has a history on its own. And today I'm learning to play violin. It's a difficult instrument, yes, but I'm learning.
And you're happy doing it, yeah.
I'm very happy doing it.
Great.
Nice,
Yes.
nice.
I was going to say, by the way, Randy, I do have a daughter and a granddaughter. When my granddaughter was going to be born, because my daughter got married, according to her, when she was an old lady. She got married at 39 and had a baby at 41. Because she said she had been waiting on me to retire and take care of a child. And it didn't seem as if that was going to happen. So, but anyway, she gave me a book called, the title of the book was Funny, You Don't Look Like a Grandmother.
And I'm sure you are every bit a grandmother.
I am, you know, but it doesn't have to be stamped on your forehead, you know.
No.
Same way, you know, like Jennifer does it too. But, you know, the point is, you know, there are so many different roles we can play in life all while we are looking after ourselves. So we just we are multi-dimensional and we gotta live that way.
Great. So, people, I think this was...
Terry, and that's a nice note to leave on, huh? What Allison just said, multi-dimensional, yeah.
So we really want to thank you, panel. We want to thank you so much. This stage of stages is phenomenal. We represent it well. I think we carry it well. All of the stages are here.
And Terry, and I'm sure our followers out there in the Caribbean, and Allison represented, of course, the US.
The US,
you know, that all over, really happy and learned a lot, you know, from what has been said here this evening.
Great.
So we say bye again.
We want to say
Bye.
bye to our guests.
Bye.
All right, and thank you so very much for being here. And Jennifer and I will continue. So thanks again.
Thanks so much. So bye, everyone.
Bye.
Yes, so Tarian, as we say farewell to our guests, Tarian, that was just a fantastic session. You know, it confirmed all that we have been speaking about, you know, all the programs that we have had so far covered about self-care. We spoke about the economics. We spoke about planning for the future, transitioning. I mean, and they all cover that stage of stages with each guest in a different stage, man. We
And
couldn't
they're
want a
so
better
different.
conversation. Yeah.
That's so different, but all looking forward to the future. And, you know, Jen, it just brings us back to we're in the midst of our resets right now.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
and I mean, you could speak to it. We have two parts of it, the life coaching and the entrepreneurship. And most people aren't aware of what that life coaching is. And what has been our experience, Jen?
Yes, the experience with the reset, for those who recall that we do still have our reset package where it's 2 stages. You can choose either do the life coaching, which is 4 sessions, the life transition coaching, or you can do the entrepreneurship aspect, or combine both. And we have had several who have registered for that program, and right now it's in the process. And definitely, Tarian, especially with the life coaching, because life transition coaching is new to many people. So in the very early stages, they're a bit hesitant, and then they say, you know what, we will go with both.
Yeah.
And the responses, and you know, as we complete, we would be able to share with you the feedback from these clients, letting you know how they felt and about the process and their experiences. And what we have done, Tarian, because Tarian's doing the entrepreneurship, we thought because of the feedback and people calling us, this is after we have reset is going on now, calling us and sharing their views and want to get on board, we felt, you know what, we would create in the interim a workshop. And we calling that workshop, this is men and women, this is your prime time workshop.
Yep.
You know, and we have decided to do the workshop in 2 parts. So you will experience and have the time with me doing the transition coaching, and then you have time with Tarian doing the entrepreneurship coaching.
Yeah.
So you're getting this 2-in-1 in this workshop. And from there now, you can really register for the full reset program where we're doing it on an individual basis. Yeah. So you're going to be dealing with us on an individual basis, and you can really transition smoothly from one stage into the next stage. Or if you're in an early stage, from when our guest spoke, you realize you're moving smoothly from one stage into the next and continuing beyond 80.
Yes.
All right. No. So Tarian, this workshop we have is on Fridays, 2 days we said. Friday the 19th, which is really a holiday, public holiday in Trinidad, and Saturday the 20th. And we're going for 2 hours from 3 to 5. So on Friday the 19th, I will be there with you, talking all about the transition coaching, helping you to reset your life. And Allison spoke about that self-care. That I could definitely.
And then self-care,
You know what I love too? The scenario planning. That I noted that. I love that. It really will keep you focused where you are now and where you want to go. And envision the scenarios that you want.
Yeah.
You know, so that of the self-knowledge and self-care, I will be focusing on that area. And I know you are the entrepreneurship, and you tell them what you're going to be focusing on.
No, the thing about it, most people say, I want to do a business. I want to do something. Now we
Yes.
look at Randy, and Randy is using his passion from work.
Oh, yes.
He's a wine salesman. He was at his first job at 17, and he's had this passion for food in the kitchen with his grandmother. And he has already registered and established a business. And you know what the mistake is? Most people think a business is, oh my God, when they hear business and entrepreneurship, they think of the work world. And they think,
Yes.
oh God, trouble. But it is really, how can we, in this stage, when we do not want to have the pressure of that past stage,
Yes.
how can we use the structure, the organization, the systems to allow us to have a great time and a ball? And sometimes we don't know how to actually make money off of the things that we do well or that we know how to do. And what I will be doing is, and we're working in a small group. And listen, this is limited to 15 people. It's only 15 people we can accommodate. So you will have a group of 15 people working on the Friday with Jennifer, getting to understand yourself and what motivates you and your perspective. And then on Saturday, we get together with me, and then we go through, okay, we understand ourselves, we know our passions, we know what we can do. How can we organize this in a way that it can supplement our income, that it can help us to help others, that it can help us to give back, but we do it in an organized way so that we are not stressed. And in that way, really have a great time dancing across all the stages of this stage. So, listen,
and what stuck with me too is the using the creative energy, using your creative energy to really enjoy life on these stages. Yeah.
With Jennifer, I can't tell you how. I mean, you know, we talk about it all the time. Every time we do a show, every time we deal with a client, every time we have something, we just have to thank God that this is happening to us. I mean, we are living what we are talking about. It's not for special people. This is for everybody. And we really are so thrilled that you all can join us throughout the Caribbean, from Belize, come right down. We know we check where the clicks are coming from.
Yes.
All 825 clicks after that went to the landing page. It's from Belize, it's from Jamaica, it's from St. Lucia, Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad, Tobago. Oh, wow.
We always look forward to the comments, you know, and the feedback. That drives us a lot, Terry Ann. You know, when you read, people feel, and when you look at the show and when they can learn from it, oh, wow. Yes. So keep sending your comments.
Look out for our promos. You're going to see the promos for the reset workshop, which prepares you for the big reset. Okay. It's Labor Day weekend, the Friday from 2 to 5 and the Saturday from 2 to 5. It's just.
And Terry, we shift the time from 3 to 5.
3 to 5. Oh, sorry.
Yes, so it would be much, so more convenient.
2 hours every afternoon.
Yes.
But listen, we are over time.
Great. So we have to say bye as usual. Enjoy your life.
Love you.
So
much. Bye.
Bye. Okay.